Michael Ogechi Abbey with Enterprise Express Tax Service. So now that the tax filing season is officially done with, which is April 15th was the deadline, a lot of people ask me, so what do tax preparers do after the filing season? There's been this image or this myth that once April 15th is over, as in once it hits midnight, a tax professional or a tax preparer maybe takes a day or two rest and then goes off to an island and drinks margaritas for the next couple of months and then comes back during January of the following year for the next filing season. That is so far from the truth. Tax professionals stay busy all year round. And this is one of the professions where you could easily get burnt out because you're busy all year round. I am told by those who were in my profession, maybe 30, 40 years ago, that there used to be a time when preparing taxes was one where once April 15th went past, you had a lot of downtime. We don't have that anymore. And I'll give you a couple of scenarios in which keeps us busy. Now, think about extensions. Before the tax filing season ends, we end up doing a lot of tax extensions. Sometimes it could be up to 20 or 30% of your practice that has to do extensions for good reasons. Um, and then you have your new clients who are coming in as well that you have to onboard. And sometimes you also have to do extensions for them as well because they may not be able to meet the deadline. I would rather recommend doing a tax extension as opposed to you not meeting the deadline. And that way we're still in compliance. Then you have a lot of people who need to do a lot of back taxes, as in prior year tax returns. Sometimes 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, through no fault of their own. Sometimes these are people who have been overseas. Sometimes these are people who just fell behind due to circumstances. In my practice, we're noticing that, especially since COVID, a lot of people fell behind on their taxes. And that takes a lot of time to get done. And we do get a lot of that during the so-called downtime, but ends up being as busy, sometimes as busy as the filing season. We do a lot of FAFSA, people who need to come in and make sure they get their tax returns done so that they can complete their FAFSA, the federal school aid forms. That's another thing. My practice happens to be in the DMV, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Baltimore area. And there's a lot of federal jobs that require tax returns to be done before you can get an offer. And so that's another area where we get a lot of clients coming in needing to get their tax returns done. So we stay busy all year round. But the good thing with that is, you have a practice, and I'm going to use my practice as an example, and I'll be totally honest. One of the advantages of my practice is that we come across pretty much everything. I can say that in my 20 plus years, almost 25 years of being in the tax practitioner, tax advisory business, I can honestly say that I've come across pretty much everything that you can come across. I've had people who have had to do taxes going back 10 years. I've had people who have need to do multiple amended year taxes because the tax return has to comply with a certain situation. And so there's all kinds of things that when you have a tax practice that's open all year round, I think what you gain from such a practice is a lot of experience. Plus, the fact that you can call on them pretty much, anytime during the tax filing season. Now, with us, what I tend to do is during the non, during the filing season that is beyond April 15th, my hours change a little bit. So instead of being from, 8 a.m. through 7 p.m. from January through April, we now adjusted and we're now open from 11 a.m. Through 6 p.m. Okay, and then we have limited weekend hours as well. However, we are online. I actually prefer getting messages via text because I respond pretty much almost instantaneously. It's a lot quicker for me. I prefer a lot of online um, onboarding now because it's so easy. I can just have you go to my portal, upload your documents. I can take a look at them in real time and give you an idea what we're looking at without you having to come into my office. And so that's an advantage as well of having having a physical office, but also having an online presence as well. So I just thought that was an interesting question that someone posed to me the other day, asking, what do we do after the crux of the filing season? And I thought to just kind of give a comeback and say, hey, we are busy. We don't just go and relax. Now, do tax professionals get some downtime? Absolutely, yes, we do. Yes, we do. For me, sometimes what I do is after the filing season, I'll take a few weeks off, go on holiday somewhere, with the family, and sometimes I'll take some downtime off by myself. Now, the other thing is that we do a lot of continuing education. And so during the so-called non-crunch filing season, that's also the time when we try and get our continuing education credits in so that we can stay abreast of what's going on in our industry. And as you guys know, a lot's changed. We had the one big beautiful act that came up the last year, or rather the last 2 years maybe, and there was a lot of changes with that bill that we had to stay up to date with. So anyway, this is Michael Ogechi Abbey with Enterprise Express Tax Service, talking about what tax preparers do during the non-urgent filing season. Oh, quick reminder: if you did file an extension, remember that it's for 6 months. All right, and so the countdown starts from April 15th, 6 months going down. And just remember that to put that on your calendar so you actually get your return in. Another thing that you also need to remember is that when you file an extension, it doesn't mean that there's an extension to pay what you owe, and that's if you owe. All right. So just make sure you make a payment arrangement or have a plan to make that payment off. One good thing with the IRS that I'll say is they have different types of plans. So if it's something where you think you can pay off that debt within, say, 6 months, it's quite possible that the IRS has a plan where they won't charge you interest if you make those payments online. Okay. So once again, it's Gaethje Michael Abbey talking about what tax preparers do after April 15th, and wishing everybody a great time. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.